Good morning, everybody. It is the Savage Stacker. I always start off with good morning because I make these videos like at 3 a.m. And, you always want to have a good start to the day. But I know some of you, it is not the morning time. And wherever you're at, good morning, good evening, good night. And let's hop right into this. This video is going to be like a punch to the gut. And but it's real. I like to keep it real over here. I'm a little rough around the edges, and that's just how I get down. But if you haven't been stacking precious metals in, say, the last year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, you're behind on the curve. You are playing with fire. And I know that this last week has been pretty much crazy. There's a big buzz. The markets are doing horrible. The dollar is inflated like crazy, and metals are going up. And it's nice to see metals have a normal reaction to the markets compared to what they were in the last couple of years. But I don't know if it's going to stay that way forever. I noticed that a couple of days ago, and because I noticed when it started going with the markets, and it just seemed very odd. Well, that's because you couldn't follow where the money was going. And this last week, you were kind of able to find out, that people are dumping stocks and they're buying, even if it's the paper ETFs, that's what they were doing. Well, with inflation at its all-time high of a 40-year all-time high, at 7%, and that's excluding, I always got to say this, that's excluding energy from fuel to electricity to coal, energy, and food. Food is jumped up there. It's up there to 15 to 20%. Same with fuel, same with energy products, period. And that's no lie. It's no bull. Like, I've done the research with my receipts that I've saved from grocery store and gas receipts for work over the last couple of years, and things are quite expensive, way more than 7%, that's for sure. But if you haven't been stacking in the last few years, you're way behind the curve. And I'm not telling people to go out there and dump your whole check, put yourself in a debt to buy precious metals. But what I am saying is that when you get a chance, instead of buying, those new tires for your vehicle if you don't need them, or say not tires, but rims, right? Or whatever it is you like to splurge your money on. Say you have a great hobby like dirt bike riding or something, and you want to go buy a new dirt bike, but you already have one that's 4 years old, right? Don't go blow your money right now. I don't think it's a good time to start splurging. We get doped up with this free money, and we think it's time to spend money, and it's not. And once you get started spending money, it's hard to stop. It's like an addiction. You start buying stuff online, and before you know it, you have 15 packages coming to your door over the next 2 weeks. And it's very easy to start getting into the everyday cycle of spending. And you have to be very careful with that. I have to be very careful with that. Like, I can go on Amazon and start buying things, and then I have a bunch of packages coming, and I'd rather have packages of metals coming, because if I don't, I start getting a little panic attack. And it's never too late to start stacking, but it is imperative that you try to get some metals into your portfolio now, starting now. You should have been doing it. And if you're the new person out there that just started stacking, continue doing what you're doing. You're already ahead of the curve from most. If you bought your first ounce of silver last week, buy another one this week. This is not financial advice. I have to put that out there. I am not a financial advisor, nor do I ever claim to be. But with that said, I think it's imperative to start stacking and preserving your wealth. This is a comfort blanket. This is a pillow that puts you between your paychecks, debt, paychecks, and your savings and your and your wealth. So when all those other things run out, you still have this to back you up. Get out of debt. It's important to get out of debt. I don't have anything hanging over my head except for my car payment. It's fairly cheap. And I used to have bills, like it'd be like $4,000 a month in bills, Now I've got it under $2,000. And that's with my house, that's with my car, that's with everything. I'm under $2,000 a month in bills. So try to get yourself out of debt. Do your best to start getting some metals. It's important. The dollar's dying. The CDs and the bonds and all those things, that type of saving, that is garbage. You're losing money every day if you put yourself into a cash bond. Now, I'm not trying to say that you need to go cash in your IRA or cash in all your stuff. What I'm saying is that if you have any money left over at the end of the week, it's probably best to go to your local coin shop, shop local, give them some business, and buy yourself a couple of ounces of silver. Buy yourself a 10th ounce of gold. Buy yourself an ounce of gold if you got the money in savings. If you got money in savings, you got cash in a safe somewhere, that stuff is losing value every day. I am so grateful that I started stacking precious metals. And it wasn't a mindful, strategic thing that happened. It was more, it was kind of weird. I mean, it was kind of spiritual, but, and I don't want to get into that, but it was kind of like an awakening. It was like, man, you know what? True wealth, it just popped in my head one day, true wealth is gold. True wealth is metals, and we don't have any. Like, we had our wedding rings, maybe a little bit of junk, gold and silver around the house, like scrap gold and silver, and that was it, and I was like, you know what, like if something ever happened, horribly happened, like we'd be screwed. I'd be trying to sit there and sell all my stuff, dirt bikes and different hobby stuff, and I'm gonna be losing value. I'm gonna be losing 50-60% of what I paid for it. But with metals, when I buy metals, as it goes up with inflation, I'm gonna be keeping probably the same amount of value, but for purchasing power, but I'm going to be not depreciating. With metals, I'm not going to be depreciating, and it scratches the itch of spending. I would rather buy metals and be addicted to that than I would buying knives. Now, I am addicted to buying knives. I gotta have my knives, dude. But now I've started to, buy knives that I know will resell. This is not one of them. This is, it's a nice knife, but I do have knives that on a secondary market would make me money. And I only started thinking like that because of precious metals. I didn't just go buy the next new cool knife. I went and started buying knives that I knew if I put it on a secondary market would make money. Precious metals taught me how to do that. Everything I do today, everything I spend money on today, I go, man, I wish I didn't have to buy that. That's 15 ounces right there of silver. And I think like that. So if you're new to the stacking game and you just got started, don't panic. Don't go out and just spend a ton of money and put yourself into debt. Gradually grow your stack. And it's never too late to get into precious metals, but there is a wrong time to purchase. Right now, it has just gone up this last couple days. And when I first started stacking, you couldn't tell me that it was the wrong time to start to buy. If I had the money, I was buying anyways. And I started stacking in that time zone where it was from $17 to $21 an ounce for silver, and 15 100 for gold, and I bought my first few hundred ounces of silver and my first few ounces of gold in that price range. And then it started going up dramatically, and you couldn't have told me to stop. I was in accumulation mode, and I was savagely going to buy whatever I could. And so I'm not going to tell anybody out there to not purchase when it just rose up this last couple of days at $40 in gold and $1.50, $2 in silver. But what I am saying is that if you can hold out a little bit to see if it dips down, you know, do that. But if not, if you're in a full-on accumulation mode, well, go get your money, you know, handle it. It's better to have a little bit of a premium and get yourself some metals than it is to not have it in your stack, period. And that's what I believe. There are people out there in the community people that have been stacking when it was $8 an ounce for silver, and they just won't buy right now. They just won't do it. And I get it, the price is high. Yes, it will probably eventually pull back a little bit, but with the way the economy is going right now, there's no way it's pulling back that far. If they're waiting for it to dip to $8 an ounce, those times are over. That's long gone. Inflation's too high. We're moved up to our next plateau. So, long story short, get yourself some of this. And you know, for you new stackers out there, I feel sorry for you. I feel bad that you weren't able to stack pre-CV, because ever since then, ever since 2020, things have been really weird. The premiums have been very high, and it's just been hard to swallow the pill that where metals are at right now. But it's a new era, you know. Do I think you're a little too late? No. Do I think you're behind the curve? Absolutely, way behind the curve. There's been signs since 2015 that shit ain't right in our world. Shit is not right in our country. That's when I started prepping pretty heavy. It was back in 2015, because I was just seeing all this stuff going down, and I was like, you know what? All these new bills and all these new laws and all this shortages back then. There was like ammo shortages and all this stuff. And I was like, you know what? I need to start doing something, because things aren't right. And there was a lot of talk of the economy and food shortages and all this stuff back then. So I started prepping. I prepped for 4 years, really heavy, and got all the things that I feel like I needed. There's a lot of holes that I'm lacking. But for the most part, we'll survive at least a year or two if we ever had to go off grid with what we have now. But I was missing out on metals, and after 2019, that's when I started stacking metals, and I put the prepping, except for filling some holes in rotation of food, to when I started getting into metals, and I started really getting into metals. I mean, that first year, 1,200 ounces. 10 ounces of gold, you know, I was fighting fires, making good money, and not everybody can do that. But I stopped with cable. I stopped with all the little things that cost me extra money, and I switched it around. I took all that money that I was saving from all the stuff that I didn't need and started buying precious metals with it. Got myself out of debt and just started grinding. I mean, just really grinding. Sacrificed a lot. I've sacrificed a couple of vacations. I've sacrificed a couple things just to make sure that we keep our head above water. And now I'm in a spot, if something happens, a car breaks down, or we got to move, or if something happens, you know, or if one of us gets sick, we can't work, we're in a position now that we would be fine. We would be more than fine. It would be great if I had to sell, you know, a few ounces of gold or silver or whatever. We would be fine. And that's only because I started stacking this stuff. So you're behind the curve, big time. But it's never too late to start stacking. If you just started stacking, get yourself some more. It'd be nice to wait for a dip, but you know, we'll find out Monday morning what's happening with these markets. You know, I have a feeling that we've seen 600-point swings in and, you know, in the last couple of years, and then the next day it'd be 300 points above, you know, so it was 600 to 900 point swings on the market. So you never know. Gold and silver could pull back on Monday or Tuesday, and two of my LCSs don't even open on Monday. They're closed Sunday and Monday. And that's because it takes a day for the metals to settle out, and they do big shifts on Monday and big swings, and then Tuesday you kind of get a feeling of what's going on. And I learned that from my LCS. They don't like doing business on Monday because things just get weird, you know. But we'll find out Monday what happens, and we'll see where metals sets at the end of the day, which after everybody figures out where their money's going. And a little pullback would be great, get some more metals. But if it doesn't, and it just sits there, just smooth, or starts gradually going up, I might make another purchase, you know. Not out of FOMO, you know, just a small purchase. But there has been a time where we've had stuff going on like right now, and where the markets have taken a dump, metals went up, and I went out and bought 150 ounces. You know, there's been times when I've done that. So there is a wrong way to right way to stack, but if you're trying to put up money in metals, you know, you're gonna do what you're gonna do anyways. So I just say keep on getting them. Just keep accumulating that stuff as much as you can, and hopefully you can get yourself into a nice foundation with your stack, and where you don't have to worry about having to get more metals when it dips or when it goes up. So hopefully everybody understands what I'm trying to say. You know, it's not too late, but you are behind the curve, and it's could be imperative that you protect yourself and your wealth and your family, and get yourself some precious metals. All the markets and the bonds and the CDs and the stocks and all the stuff, that stuff is all so volatile right now. You're gonna lose your ass, and I think it's very important to save your ass. Get yourself some metals. Get yourself out of debt. Buy yourself some extra food, like I always say. You know, look, I got stuff right here on the table I just bought. You know, this stuff is delicious right here. This company is awesome right here. We just got the minestrone soup, right? We got one, we got two, we got three, and we got another 3-pack in the cupboard, right? We get this stuff because, you know, why buy one, you know? 2 is 1 and 1 is none. You buy 1, you use it or you lose it. You have none. You buy yourself 6 and you use 1, you still got 5, right? So get yourself some extra food for the house, especially the things that you normally use every day, because those might not be on the shelves tomorrow. That's how things are going right now. You might not be able to get your day-to-day stuff tomorrow. And that's the fact. Things aren't great. They're just not great. I had to get some parts for the truck the other day, and the boss was like, yeah, he's got 2 in stock. I said, okay, we've already had to change this part out for the computer in my semi, in my KW, which is Kenworth. And he's like, yeah, they have 2 in stock. I said, buy them both. He goes, what? They're $380 each. I said, buy them both. He goes, yeah, but we don't need. I said, buy them both. We've been waiting 4 months for these parts to come in. We've already had to change this part out once, buy them both. And the boss is like, well, and then he goes up there and the guy goes, you want to get both of them? I was on the phone, so he couldn't hear me. And the boss was like, that's what my guy's saying. He was like, yeah, if I were you, I'd buy them both. He's like, all right, bought them both. Because that part might not come in for another 4 months. That's how things are going down right now. So feminine products for your wife, you know, food items that you normally have, toothpaste, all that stuff that could just disappear overnight, get a little extra of it, because you might not get it tomorrow. All right, thank you everybody for coming by. It is the Savage Stacker. Please go down and hit that bell icon to get updated on my latest videos. Please rate, comment, and make sure you subscribe. The Savage Stacker is over and out. Boom.